Well, hello to everybody. Here it's Teresa Sanderson with Nurses Feed Their Young, and I'm excited to connect with you today. In the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about some challenging things that are going on with nursing. You're going to hear some astounding numbers and some surprising things, and we're going to start with one today because there was a recent article in Becker's Hospital Review the other day with the title 800,000 nurses plan to leave the workforce by 2027. Okay. And I don't know about you, but with the state of nursing already being where it is, this number is alarming, right? That's almost a million nurses who are saying, I will be out of the workforce by 2027. Now, some of those are going to be nurses who are retiring, right, and stepping away from the bedside. But I think it's really important that there are two other numbers we need to look at. And one of those is that new graduate nurses who are brand new, 18% quit the profession within the first year, and a total of 33% of new nurses quit the profession within 2 years. Okay, so this is significant. We have some retiring nurses, we have new nurses who are not quite making it into the fold, and we need to really be looking hard at why these things are happening and what we can do differently, how we can take a different approach to supporting and helping new nurses, and also helping and supporting those seasoned, veteran, established nurses who continue to stay even when it's very, very difficult. So, and also, we want to show great respect to those who are retiring from the position or from the workforce after serving their time, right? But so there's a lot of things going on, and I think we need to really begin to look at this very seriously. And so when we look at what are the factors that are causing nurses to these 800,000 nurses to say, hey, we're looking at leaving by 2027, the first key reason is burnout. Okay, is that anything new for any of you? I doubt it, right? Because we've been talking about burnout for decades, right? We've been talking about this for a long, long time, and it is still the primary reason that nurses are reporting that they want to leave the profession. And when I say leave the profession, I mean leave nursing altogether. So think about those new grad nurses leaving the profession within 2 years. They're saying, I'm getting out of it. I'm getting out of nursing, getting out of healthcare, and I will go do something else. I will cut hair. There was a time in my life that I actually said, man, I'm just going to leave and I'll go cut hair. I didn't do that. I stayed in the game. But you know what? There are nurses who consider their options every single day. And we need to be looking at what is the source of their burnout? What are those things? And I think we know many of them, right? Again, it's not rocket science. We've been doing a lot of studies. We've been doing a lot of looking, a lot of researching. Now it's time to take that data and act on it. Okay? Because nurses are burnt out. Why? The demanding nature of the profession, long hours, high stress work environments. All of this leads to burnout, being called in on your days off when nurses are exhausted and they come in to cover, right? We need to be able to come to the table with better solutions to help nurses manage the stress and emotions of the job. Another thing is, secondly, workplace culture is really, really important and has a huge effect on job satisfaction. Nursing is a culture that is very different than many work cultures. And some people say, oh, that eat their young thing, it happens in every profession. Well, it may, but I think it's a very, very sad thing. It's a very sad thing to look at new nurses who are leaving the profession within 2 years, quitting the profession altogether within 2 years. So nurses eat their young, first of all, I need to say, happens to nurses at all levels. It happens to entry-level nurses who are new out of school. It happens to seasoned nurses, even like me, who are floating to a different unit to help out for a day and have to ask where supplies are, only to get the eye rolling, the sighing, and the huffy answer. Okay, it happens. It happens to all of us on all ends of the spectrum. And I think most of us, the majority of nurses have seen it. There are very few nurses, I can probably count them on one hand, who have told me, Teresa, I've never experienced that in my nursing career. And if that's you, I want to just say, yay, I'm glad to hear that it happens. But sadly, the majority of nurses have experienced toxic nursing culture of nurses eat their young. And that's why there's, it's a cliche, it's a saying about nurses. And we have to overcome it. We have to say that today is the day that we no longer allow incivility in our work environment, because we will never be able to take care of new nurses and even our seasoned nurses if we can't treat each other with respect and professionalism. And lastly, nurses report that they're leaving because of lack of leadership. We're in a vicious cycle here because we can't have leaders when we don't have work environments that, provide that supportive, life-giving environment that will nurture new leaders so that they can nurture their teams. We are in a time when our nursing leaders probably have very little nursing experience themselves, much less leadership experience, and they're getting thrown into those roles without having any training to lead, and then they find themselves without the mentorship and support that they need to be able to lead for longevity. Okay? Nurses want leaders who are in the role for a long time, right? We value that. We value consistency in our leadership and knowing that that leader is there for us and can help us. But when we have a lot of turnover in leadership, it just stands to reason that we're also going to have a lot of turnover in the team. Why is that? Because the team is constantly learning someone else's new expectations. They're revising the way they do things now for a new manager. Everything changes when we have leadership changes. So I think it's important to really look at that. We need to be supporting and planning to really mentor our nursing leaders so that they can lead for longevity, which in turn is going to result in nursing teams that can also be available for longevity. Okay. So some of the things that we can do to reverse these trends, right? Because these are significant things. So when we think about, nurses, one of the primary reasons they're leaving is burnout. We need to prioritize nurses' health and well-being, and their mental health is included in that. It's not enough to have, like a spa room or something like that for nurses, and they have no time to get there. Okay. If your spa room or your beautiful, mental health room or meditational space or whatever you've put together is not used by your nurses, why is that happening? Okay. We need to give them time and space to be able to do that. We need to make sure that they take lunches and that they get a lunch break, right? An uninterrupted lunch break, which means many times, probably most of the time, leaving the unit. The break room is not the best place. It's not the best place because most often you'll get interrupted with people knocking on the door and saying, "Hey, Teresa, I know you're on lunch right now, but okay, I'm not resting. I'm not relaxing if that's happening." So we need to prioritize staff well-being and put some things in place so that nurses can take their breaks, okay? Whether it's a buddy system or does leadership relieve nursing, how are we going to do this? But we have to look at different ways that we can prioritize nursing well-being and their mental health. Building a positive culture, a life-giving culture. This is essential, right? I did a LinkedIn poll. I've talked about it before last year and asked the question, have you ever left a position because of toxic nursing culture? Almost 700 nurses responded. 86% said, yes, I have. And another 7% said, I haven't yet, but I would if I could. Okay. Clearly, nursing culture is a problem. It's a big problem, and it's time to clean it up. It's time to say we have zero tolerance for incivility, unprofessionalism, and bullying, because that's what those behaviors are. At the crux, that is just unprofessional, disrespectful behavior. And, so we have to pave the way for doing something differently, setting different expectations, and cleaning up nursing culture to where, if I'm a gardener, remember, I live in the Midwest, but if I'm a farmer or a gardener and I'm going to go out and plant a garden, I want to be sure that I've tilled up my soil, right? I want to be sure it's got some fertilizer on it before I put my seeds in it. I'm going to be hoeing that, raking it, fluffing it up, aerating it a little bit. I'm going to get that soil perfect before I put my heirloom organic seeds in there. Do you see what I'm saying? So we have to prepare the nurses station. We have to prepare our unit for the planting of these new nurses, whether they're seasoned nurses or new graduate nurses. We have to prepare the environment to be ready to support and nurture them so they can what? Grow and thrive where they are planted. Okay. If we don't clean up nursing culture, we're just spending a lot of money recruiting a lot of people only to see them leave after orientation or maybe even before. Okay. So we have to prioritize workplace culture. And lastly, we need to implement strategies to cultivate and develop our nursing leaders. When we place a nursing leader into a role, they need to have a plan of what is my training going to look like? What kind of trainings will I have if I've never done a budget before? Who's going to train me on managing my unit budget? Who's going to train me on handling employee conflict? Who's going to teach me how to show up with emotional intelligence so I can lead with influence? What is my educational curriculum going to look like? In addition to, I know I need bloodborne pathogens. I know I need HIPAA. I know I need this, that, and the other. But as a nursing leader, what are you going to do for me to help me step in that role successfully? Okay. We just really need to be looking at solutions in a different kind of way. And so this is where Nurses Feed Their Young comes to the table. And we are excited to be a part of solutions for the future because we want to transform nursing culture. And we have 3 pillars that we find very, very important. We want to cultivate nursing leaders. We want to innovate nursing continuing education, and we want to develop nurse entrepreneurs. All right. Those are our 3 pillars. And we are launching our brand new Nurses Feed Their Young community membership. It's coming up here within the next month. We're going to launch it. It's going to go live. I want to invite every single nurse to take advantage of 30 free days. Just free. Come and check us out, learn about us and what we're doing and the mission we have and the strategies we have in place to improve nursing culture and work environment so that we can create a better future for nursing. We're going to be doing some wonderful things in here. We're going to have nursing continuing education available for our members. We're going to be having some networking events, leadership trainings, emotional intelligence trainings. It's going to be a wonderful source of support and resources for nurses at all levels so that we can solve some of these big problems that we're having and at least get like-minded nurses together so that we can begin to make something happen and dare to do nursing differently. So click the link below this video, find out more about the Nurses Feed Their Young membership. I would love to have you join us and be a part of that and support the movement of Nurses Feed Their Young. It's high time we did nursing differently. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.